Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tatiana. I'm with the teacher Alexa. She is a teacher from preschool in Brooklyn. So we are going to start with the questions.
Yep.
Hi. I just want to say thank you for accept the invitation and help me with my homework. Okay.
Anytime.
What do you think is the relationship between language and culture?
I think where it comes in, language and culture is very intermingled because you can't learn about your culture if you can't learn about it in your language. So, I speak English, that's my first language, but if someone was trying to teach me about my culture in a different language, I wouldn't be able to understand it. So, I think also I teach very young children, so they're kind of just learning how to speak at that point. So language is very important to pretty much understand anything. So if you're trying to express your culture, aside from showing pictures or anything like that, if you want to read a book or tell them a story or explain something to them, they're going to have to understand the language that you're expressing as well.
Yes, sir. Okay, the second one. What is the influence of culture in the process of foreign language process?
I think the influence of culture is more to help you understand. So if you're in the process of learning a foreign language, you know you might not understand why a language is like that if you don't know the culture behind it. So you may be like, why do people in Brooklyn do something like that? But until you know the culture behind it, then it would make sense to you. So in learning that language, it may seem strange or different from the language that you're speaking, and learning the culture behind it can help you to understand and have a better grasp on that foreign language.
Yeah, I think it's really important to us, to the teachers, to really know the background of the students.
For sure. Yeah.
So let's do. Why do you think it's important to have an oral tradition in a country?
I think it's really important to have oral tradition because that's how we pass down things from generation to generation. So, if it was something that was so far back where they didn't, have books, or they wrote things down, but it didn't last over the years, you have that oral tradition to tell that story or sing that song so that, generations down the line your kids are still learning the same things that your ancestors maybe learned. So if you don't have that oral tradition, or you can't pass that down in the same language where they can understand, or they're going to lose a part of their culture in a way. Like they're not going to have the same things. They're not going to be able to learn the same things because sometimes that's all we have is our stories and our songs and things like that.
Yep. Okay. What do you think? Do we teach language using culture, or do we teach culture using language?
I kind of feel like it's a little bit of both. But I think I'd probably lean a little bit more towards um I think I would lean more towards teaching language using culture, because kind of piggybacking off of what I said before is that I feel like if you know the background, it can help you to understand more. So if I'm trying to learn a different language, understanding that culture and why they speak the way they do, or they use certain terms that they do, would help me to understand and be able to use the language better. So in my head, I would say that you teach language using culture.
Okay. Okay, there you go. The last one. Do you take into account culture in the strategies you use in your English classes. Can you give me some examples?
Sure. So I definitely think, we take culture into almost everything that we do, whether we realize it or not. Um, a great example is, there is a book that we use with our little ones that teach us about the seasons on an apple tree, because when it becomes autumn here, we go apple picking and we pick our apples. And, I know that that's not something that's cultural in all over the world. Not everyone goes and does apple picking or knows what apple picking is, or even has different seasons throughout the year. In wintertime, the tree is bare, there's snow on it. In the springtime, they start to bloom. In summertime, they're almost ready. And then in autumn, they're ready to be picked and eaten and things like that. So, and that's a very cultural thing for, New York, but also, certain places in the United States. But even certain places, they don't do that either, because they don't have the different kinds of seasons, or not the same as we do here. So even something as simple as that, just learning how apples grow and being able to go and do a cultural thing like going apple picking with your family and stuff like that, is just a simple example of how you would use culture in any kind of teaching.
Okay, I think that's pretty much, Miss Alexa. Thank you so much.
No problem.
You're the best, and see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.